getting this top cover off of the engine to give me a little bit more room between here and here. Had to take out this front cover that was zip tied in. Pull that, get that out of the way. Most of the time, so I don't lose nuts, I'll go ahead and put them back where I got them from. That way they're in place when I need them. Okay, so next I will have to get this shroud off, but the coolant reservoir bottle is on the shroud. There's a bolt here. That's probably 10 millimeter. One down there, 10 millimeter, and then one right there as well. So I need to get that out of the way. Make sure you only do this job when the engine is cold. And then the shroud itself, I'm actually going to get empty out all the coolant and change that out. So let's see. Right there, there's a bolt for the shroud, and there should be one on the exact opposite side that you have to take off. I'll take the reservoir off. Before I take the shroud out and the fan, I want to break these 14 millimeter bolts loose for the fan clutch. It'll make it easier to get them off with the belt on. With the belt giving it a little bit of tension on there, I should be able to get them off quite easily. Okay, got a 0 offset wrench. I'm going to get down there. Love these wrenches. I'll put a link in the description below. If you guys are doing a lot of automotive work on foreign cars. Get that one loose. And if need be, we might have to stick a screwdriver down there. So I'm going to stop it from moving. Looks like I got that one loose. So I'm just getting down there, getting onto the bolt. And then when I start feeling a little bit of resistance from the belt, I just give it a quick, like, jab, a stab, a movement. A quick movement to break it loose. They're not really on there that tight at all. Let's see if I can get this one on the back side here. Last one over here on this side, down at the bottom. Radiator hose kind of in the way. Yeah, they're all loose. Right on, right on. So just work your way around and get all those bolts off. Try not to drop them. Nothing to them. So I'll get this fan off. Get the fan clutch off as well. Get the fan, and then get the reservoir, coolant reservoir, and the fan loose, or the shroud loose. Right here, I'm working on the passenger side bolt for this fan shroud. There should be one on the other side. It's not a big bolt, just a tiny little guy, 10 millimeter. Let's go to the other side, see if we can see the other side. The other one is right there. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Another one's right here. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Okay, got the fan loose. It's going to come out as one assembly. Got the fan shroud loose. I'm going to try to pull this up all as one. That was pretty easy. That's off. The fan right here, the pink part, is stuck onto the pulley. So, tried pulling it with my hand as hard as I could. I don't really want to put a lot of force on these plastic blades, the plastic blades. So, I have to get down in there with a hammer. No, there's not another bolt down there, so let's see what I can do. Get this thing loose. Get a pry bar. Okay, I had to get a pry bar and a hammer and hit the side of it. I'll show you that in a second, but let's see if I can get this thing out as one unit. Here's the fan clutch, and I had to hit it right here on the edge. You can see right there, it was kind of stuck to the pulley. I'm pretty sure this is the original fan clutch. A little bit of rust on that backside and causing it to stick, so I just had to give it a little love tap and came right off. Okay, got the fan shroud out, got the fan out. Got all kinds of room now, so you can see down here. Let's see if I can get it. I also took the bottom plate out, so you can see there. But where is the water pump? Water pump has been leaking from the gasket. You guys see that? Can you guys see that back there? Sorry for the poor lighting. But yeah, it's been leaking, so I've got to change that thing out. So next I'll get the belt off. You know, actually next I'll drain the radiator and get the radiator hoses off and the thermostat off. Thermostat sits right here. 3 10mm bolts hold on. There's one hose. There's the other. And right down there, right there, is a petcock to drain the radiator. So if you want it to go faster, you can take off the radiator cap as well. But get a bucket down there and get this sucker drained out. Then also four bolts, 4 12mm bolts hold the steel cover on that sits below this. So with that off, you're able to have more room and more room to work if you got to go in from the bottom to get anything done and out. Got the radiator all drained out. Got this hose off the thermostat. There's the O-ring, looks like. Got that off. Gotta get this hose off now. Get it off here. Let's see what else. Make sure you guys dispose of the coolant properly. Don't let your animals get to it. It is sweet and they will try to drink it. So let's see. Yeah, I'll get this hose off. Get it off here. And then we'll tackle the belt and all this other good stuff right here. So let's get started. Next thing we want to do is take off this belt. We have a tensioner right here. This is actually reverse threaded, so it's righty tighty, lefty loosey. This is a 14mm. I made a diagram already of the belt and how it's routed, so if you guys have done that already, it's a good idea. I guess you can always Google it, find out what the belt routing situation is for the 4.0. This pulley's going to want to come off too. Got that pulley off. Get around the crank. Okay, so who knows how old that belt is? So, can you guys see it? We have this tensioner here. Actually, it's idler. We have tensioner here. One here. Tensioner here. Tensioner right up here. And then one over here. The other one's over here on the left hand side. So I've already loosened them up. So I have this one here. Already loosened that one up. And one way down at the bottom. Another short bolt. Pretty short bolt on that thing. They're all 14mm. I'm going to bring in my Chemo electric 3/8. Love this thing. This is a longer one, longer bolt. Got a washer right here. So, got those off. If you want to get this off, it's actually righty tighty lefty tighty righty loosey. So here's the brand new pulley for the tensioner. It's a reverse threaded bolt. But I'm going to use that. And I have all the idlers here, matched them up. This one goes on the left side, this one goes on the top right, this one goes on the bottom right. So the kit came with everything I needed. But yeah, if you guys, if you can let me know what you guys think, if I should have changed out the whole tensioner or just the pulley. Leave a comment down below. Okay, so got all the tensioners off, the idler pulleys, the tensioner, idler, pulley, or the tensioner pulley I should say, which are right over there. What I need to do next is remove this snorkel and then remove this air intake off the throttle body. You have a air connector here, you have a bolt right there. Right there. You have to get this wiring harness off, popped off right here. You have to take off the, I think this is mass airflow sensor. Then you have a 10 millimeter right back there you got to take off as well. But I need to get access to this thermostat housing, or not housing, well, I guess it's where the thermostat goes, kind of part of the housing. There's some hoses back there I need to get to, as well as I want to clean this up on my wire wheel. That's looking pretty cruddy. And then I'll get you back in here when I'm about to take this thing off. But it's connected to a tube on the back, and you got to give it a good yank to be able to get it off. So you'll get all your bolts off, and then once you start manhandling this thing, it's going to take some effort to get it free and clear. Okay, we got to get off these hoses off the thermostat housing. So just get a pair of pliers, go like this, squeeze it together, get it off, work it out. And then a little trick you can do, come on, and then just twist the hose and it'll break the seal. Twist a little bit and pull it off. So I'm going to be replacing that hose. I'm going to be replacing this one down here. Give it a little love squeeze. While you're love squeezing it, turn a little bit. Sometimes these suckers do not want to come off. Okay, so you have a couple options when you're dealing with this situation. You can either get some tools. They have tools that are specifically made for getting off hoses. You could cut this with a razor blade right around here, or you could cut it long ways this way. But just be careful when you do it that you don't mar the aluminum. If you, that's like a last ditch effort if you can't get this thing off. I'm gonna try to get this behind the hose, and then get it out that way. They sell these at Harbor Freight. You get these at almost any AutoZone or O'Reilly's. Anywhere they sell tools. Okay. I have some 10 millimeters I need to take care of here on the housing. I think there's some down here on the bottom as well. Then we'll be able to free and clear it. Get out of the way. They don't make it easy. Toyota does not make it easy, huh? Okay, got my 10 millimeter. Get that one loose. Get that one loose. One. That's the bottom one. 2. 3. Okay, they're all the same size. They're all the same size. There's one, if you follow this hose back, the small hose, there's one right there to the left of it. Yeah, it looks like there's one right here too. Same size as all the other ones. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. There's 5 of them. Let's see if it's. I'm gonna get a mirror double check real quick. All right, looks like there's only 5 bolts. That was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Always make sure you have your coolant catch can down there. Catch any coolant that comes out. And I have one hose I forgot about in the back right here. Right there. I have a tiny little hose I forgot, so I'll get that loose. Do the same thing, loosen up the clamp, move the hose around if you need to, and I'll bring you guys back in. Okay, got the housing off. You can see, so this part right here is a part up against the engine block. Flip it around. Somebody's already been in here. Somebody put RTV on this. You should actually install this dry, but you can see old RTV. And then They even put it inside here too. They loaded it up. Loaded it up inside there. I want to take this to the wire wheel, clean this up a little bit. I'll get all this stuff out. I actually did this right here. This is these two coolant lines go to the throttle body. I live in Southern California. It's 100 degrees right now, and it never gets below freezing here. So I usually do this to all my vehicles. I just bypass the throttle body and just looping back to itself. So not a big deal. I guess I wouldn't do it if I lived in like Michigan or somewhere it got really cold, but here in California it really doesn't matter. So, well, got my work cut out for me. Get all that nasty RTV out. All right, I'll bring you back after I've cleaned this thing up. All right, got it cleaned up. Got the thermostat housing cleaned up as best and well as possible. There was a lot of RTV down there. What I did is I got a if you have a plastic one, it'd be better, but I used a razor blade and just slowly went down there, went around little by little and scraped it out. Big chunks I got out by hand, and then some of this stuff I got out with a razor blade, and then the rest I got out with my fingernail, just scraping the sides, getting it clear. So I think it looks a lot better. Clean this up as well. Clean that end up. Got this free and clear too. So I'm liking the way this thing looks now. And getting ready for installation, or not ready for installation. It is ready for installation. Not at this point. I still got to take off the water pump, but at least that's ready to rock and roll. So don't use RTV on this. Doesn't need it. But what I do recommend, when you have the O-ring and you got to put the O-ring, so there's a pipe that goes into this section right here, and there's an O-ring on the end of the pipe that you got to pop onto this. So I recommend using some silicone paste. Right here, I'll put a link in the description below where you guys can pick this stuff up. But I'm going to put a light coating on the inside of this, and then a light coating on the O-ring, and then push the two together. That way the O-ring does not roll over on itself and cause a leak. I think this is where it was leaking from. It might not be the water pump at all that was leaking, but hey, might as well do it down here right now anyway. So have all the parts. So I'm going for the water pump. Okay, here's the water pump right here. I really hope they didn't load this up with RTV. Please, please, please. Well, at least it doesn't look like they loaded it up with RTV, which is a good thing. Looks like I have a small oil leak over here for something. If anybody knows what this cover is, let me know. But yeah, I got it all off. So right here, the power steering pump was stopping the water pump from coming off all the way. So I had to remove these bolts over here to get it to come out. Pulled the driver's side off first, and then got the driver's side off first, and then got the passenger side off. All right, let's go look at the water pump. Okay, here's the used water pump. Does have a Toyota emblem on it. So this, I would highly doubt this is original. This vehicle has 200,000 plus miles on it, but who knows? Who knows? That'd be awesome if it was. Doesn't look bad. Water pump seems to free spin a little bit too easily, but it's still doing its job. You can see the impeller on the inside still rotating. So let's get going. Well, I don't know. Somebody loaded up these with RTV as well. Whoever did this job loved the RTV. Surprised they didn't put the RTV on the water pump gasket. So I'll have to clean all that up, take it to the wire wheel. But there you go. Let's keep going. I know this looks kind of like a jarbled mess, but it's actually not. So right here you have the tiny little hose I was showing you that I got from Gates. I picked it actually up from O'Reilly Auto Parts. And you have this other hose right here. I'm going to replace these two hoses right here. This O-ring, can you guys see that? Okay, so this O-ring right here comes with a new water pump. I'm going to take that off, put a new one on, change out these two hoses. This one right here, this one right here. And then there was this square cover right here on the timing chain cover that was leaking oil. I got oil all on the water pump, and I went in there and put in some what do they call it? Toyota Seal F Foreman Place Gasket, FIPG. And that stuff is the best stuff I have found for sealing up like valve cover gaskets and places where you don't want oil to leak out. I'll put a link in the description below to that video as well in case yours is leaking too. You can just see all this oil right around here that's just leaking out, and it poured down here onto the water pump, so fixed all that up. But yeah, I won't bore you with showing you what to do, but you just pop that, and you've gotten this far, you know what to do here. Pop those off, pop this off, pull them out, put the new ones on, pull this off, put the new one on. Alright, clean up all the bolts for the water pump. These are all the 12 millimeters. I just want to show you guys where all the 12 millimeters go. So right there you can see 3 on this side, 2 down here, 1 right here, 3 over here. The rest are 10 millimeters. So 12, 10. And it's kind of hard to mess up because you can't get a 12 millimeter into a 10 millimeter hole. So it's another safety feature, but they're all the same length. All the 12 and 10s are the same length. I thought maybe they're going to be different lengths, but no, they ended up being the same length. Got them all cleaned up, and when I put the new water pump on, I'll grab 112 here, 112 there, put the gasket on the back, bring in the water pump at the same time, and just tighten down the 2 bolts, and then start bringing everything else in. Don't tighten all the bolts down at once. Just start them all, leave them loose. That way you can move the water pump around a little bit if you need to make some fine adjustments to get all the bolts to fit in correctly. But let's put the new water pump in. You got the new water pump. Got the gasket on. Just gonna bring it down here. I might have to take this bolt off on the passenger side because I had to sneak it behind this pulley right here. So I'm gonna grab a 10 instead. Okay, got a 10 and 12 millimeter. Start the passenger side first. Okay, got that one started. Okay, got the 12 millimeter started. So, got the 12 millimeter right here started. Got the 10 millimeter right here started. Sorry if you can't see because of the hoses. But now I'll just go around, put all the 12s in, put all the 10s in, and then tighten it down. But leave it loose until you get everything started so you can make some minor adjustments if you need to. The gasket only goes on one way, so you shouldn't mess that up. Just take your time when doing this, alright? And make sure your surface was clean on the engine block before you install the new gasket and water pump. I just went around, made sure there was no old RTV that anybody had put on, and got some of the old gasket off just using a razor blade. If you have a plastic one, that's even better, but just went around using a razor blade and just scraped it off a little bit and made it nice and clean. And then I'll put a link description below for this video right here that I did to stop this oil leak. It's pretty gross and nasty, so let's put the rest of the bolts in. Just installing them dry, nothing on them, no RTV. I guess you could put a little bit of oil if you wanted to, but I'm not doing that. I'm just putting them in. Just make sure they start by hand. Don't use the air ratchet or electric ratchet on these. Okay, I'll just go ahead and put all the rest of the 10 in, 12s in, and bring you back in. All right, well, it's the next day. Got the thermostat housing back on, got the belt back on, did the plate that was leaking over here, got the pulley back on. Water pump is on as well, so you can see that right there. If anybody can find the torque sequence for this thing, I could not. Maybe Toyota has one, but I did find the torque specs for it. For the 12mm bolts, it's 17 foot-pounds. For the 10mm bolts, it's 80 inch-pounds. Don't get that confused with foot-pounds. It's 80 inch-pounds, which is about 6 foot-pounds. So, gotta get the got the thermostat on too. Got to bring all the upper intake back in. Got to bring the radiator hoses back in. There's one that's down there. And then fill the system up with coolant, burp it. But if you guys want to know a trick to get the radiator hoses back on really easily, just put some radiator fluid on the inside of the radiator hose of when you're trying to slip it on, and it'll go in nice and easily. The belt wasn't too hard. Here's my rudimentary drawing that I made before I took the belt off, so I knew how to line it back up. But I'm sure you could find it on Google if you had to. But there you go. If you guys have made it this far, you guys don't probably need my help anymore. One thing to make note though real quick is when you put the radiator hose on, when you put the clamp on, make sure that it's behind this ring. I've heard of horror stories where mechanics put the radiator hose clamp on at an angle, so it kind of crisscrossed the ring, and then they got a coolant leak and destroyed an engine that way. So just be careful when you get it on that it's going on correctly and that it's behind, the whole clamp is behind the ring. Hope this saved you guys some money. This job was a little bit harder than I thought it would be, but whatever. It is what it is, and it helps me save money. So I will talk to you guys later.